progress.
A very good morning to all the cybersecurity enthusiasts here, waiting with so much of eagerness to update your knowledge in cybersecurity. This is Joshi. Along with me, there is Vidarshana. We'll be your moderator for the session.
Yes, Joshi. CyberZilla 2.0 is pleased to present the second edition of the most awaited event. Remembering it's a great opportunity for everyone to grab some sound knowledge on network security and data security. And also there are some fun quizzes take place along the event, which has excitement, the amusement, the thrill, the competition, everything will be there. So without further delay, let me introduce the title sponsor for the event CyberZilla 2.0 is the Cisco IT Solutions. So Cisco IT Solution is an online real-time interactive classroom-based training institute whose main focus is on building the next generation IT professionals. So in the aspect of cybersecurity, Microsoft Azure, Cisco, and networking professionals and the trade qualifications that have obtained by the company proves its evidence for its gleaming excellence. Conducting over 310 active projects, being crowned over 8 awards, Cisco IT Solutions became the leading IT solutions provider in the kangaroo land. As the first community of Uva Wellassa University, it's indeed honored to have Cisco IT Solutions as the title sponsor of the event. We wish you nothing but the best in the industry. Joshi, over to you.
Thank you, Vidarshana. There's a small announcement. We request you all to rename with your university name and index number. If you are from a Sri Lankan university, please rename yourself with your uni name in short. If it's like, for example, Uva Wellassa University means UWU. Rename in a format with university name, following with the university ID and your name. Or else, if you are from another country, except Sri Lanka, you have to rename yourself with your country name in short. For example, if you are from Australia, AUS. Following in a format with AUS _ your university ID and your name. Or if you are not an university student, just rename yourself with your country name, following with your name. Without further delay, let me introduce our guest speaker for CyberZilla 2.0. It is none other than Mr. Kushanta Gunawardana, Director, Cybersecurity, Public Cloud and Training, Cisco IT Solutions, Australia. It's our utmost pleasure and excitement that we present to you our esteemed guest speaker for CyberZilla 2023, who is an Easy Council Award winner. Mr. Kushanta Gunawardana, the session is yours.
Thanks, Josh. Let me just share my screen first. I think everybody can hear me. All right, guys. Good morning to everyone. I think everybody can hear see my screen, right? So I think it's clear, right? I'm not sure whether you can see my screen. Yeah, all good. Yeah. Can anybody sort of confirm if my screen, you can see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you very much for inviting me and having me here as a guest speaker for the session. I think even the first CyberZilla version 1 also I was presented. I mean, I was taking one session as I remember. So thanks for having me for the second session as well. And on behalf of CSK, I would like to welcome everyone to this online session, CyberZilla version 2, right? So first of all, I would introduce myself. I think they already did. So I'm working as a director of cybersecurity and training and cloud with CSK IT Solutions. And also I'm a cybersecurity trainer and also a researcher, and also I was writing a few books as well. So sort of what I would like to share is I'm sort of passionate about cybersecurity for a long time. Because of that, I started doing lots of research in cybersecurity and also, of course, so many training in cybersecurity, especially with EC Council. And also, if you see, Microsoft have started security area as well. So if you see, they have introduced SC series. If you are interested in taking exams or building your knowledge on Microsoft technologies, they have recently introduced SC series, meaning security series, as everybody is interested in security these days, right? So let's start the session without further ado. And again, thank you very much for having me here and inviting CSK IT Solutions as a title sponsor for the session. So I know it's university-wide, and Sri Lanka, most of the universities in Sri Lanka are part of your program, as I know. So wish you all the best for your programs that you're organizing and everything that you do, building youngsters' knowledge on various technologies. I'm really happy to see, especially when the country is going through a difficult situation. So you all are doing a great thing for the community and also youngsters in Sri Lanka. So they are the future. So we should be doing whatever we can, whatever possible for them, build them as a next generation or future of Sri Lanka. And for this session, actually within your community, there were a couple of topics requested. So I took them as my agenda. So I'm going to take you through these topics today. And from the first discussion I had, I understood most of you all are from first year students from IT programs. Because of that, I'm not going to discuss or going through very, very, like deep technical stuff. And also, I'm not going to talk about very simple, introductory level stuff. So then I'm going to balance somewhere in between, considering most of you are from first year and also you're following IT related degree. Okay, that's the plan today. And now the Sri Lanka, my time is 2:43 in Australia. I'm in Melbourne. And Colombo time is 13 minutes past 9. So this session will go up to 12 o'clock, but I'm not going to take the entire session. So then, about 10:30, we will have a little break. In about 1 hour and 15 minutes, we will have a little break. And then our team, especially the organizers are having plans, especially sharing quizzes, and then winners will get rewards and all that, right? So that's about organizers. So let's talk about the first topic, penetration testing. So what do you mean by penetration testing? So most of you are familiar with penetration testing. So guys, since you are doing IT degrees or IT programs, so one day in 2 years or 3 years time, or probably 4 years time, depending on the program, you're actually working on real industry. So real systems, infrastructures, web applications, and mobile applications nowadays, cloud. So then you will be working on these areas, especially as IT guys. Very tiny fraction from all the university students will go and choose some other professions, even though you are doing IT degrees, IT programs. It doesn't mean that everyone in this session or everyone who's following IT degrees will only focus on IT. So there will be, like smart guys, or some of the guys, like people would, there will be dropouts and all that. So these guys will start different, completely different area, right? But majority of you will stay or remain in the IT, but going through different areas, right? So some will be working as a software developers, software engineers, and infrastructure designers, network professions, and cybersecurity professionals, and so many other stuff. And also academic programs, they will be following and sticking to academics, and they will be obtaining doctorates, PhDs, and becoming professors. Who knows, right? And some people will even will take administrative positions in Sri Lanka, including here. Who knows? There can be the future president of Sri Lanka. So that is how we would look ourselves in next 10 years or 15 years. So, however, now when you are working on IT systems, always there is a risk, right? Because IT provides you so comfortable, easy to access, scenarios. Meaning, now those days, if you want to obtain your birth certificates or national identities, so you must go to these locations and obtain these. I'm talking about general stuff, right? So not specifically in Sri Lanka. So, but now these scenarios have changed and being changing, right? Countries like, developed countries, they completely work on online scenarios. So very rarely people visiting to the service centers, the respective officers, but mostly they can do everything on home, sitting in home. And especially after COVID scenario in 2020, everything changed further. So most of the officers in Australia have started providing employees working from home options. Now, some companies completely 100% working from home. Some companies partially working from home. Couple of days they are going to office, and mostly they are working from home. That saves a lot of time, traveling cost, and all that. Okay, so then, since all systems are going towards that way, because there was another question asked, like emerging attack vectors. I'll come to that point later. But as of now, since we all are in online systems, online platforms, even withdrawing money, ordering goods, and all that. I'm not going to talk about all these, but however, as we all know, we are connected. Right? We are connected through social media. We are connected through banking systems. Online banking is available now. So many other online platforms available, right? And even in Australia, for example, if you purchasing a property, everything will be done online. So then even, title checking. So when you're purchasing a property, you need to check your titles to see whoever used the property before you, right? So to see whether the titles are clear. And then if you want to check, if you want to obtain certain certificates, that can be done online as well. So then transferring process will be completely online. You're signing up. You don't have to go and sign in front of lawyer. Everything is online. Online signing platforms are there. So if you want to agree something, you are signing online, right? So then even in Sri Lanka, these systems will be introduced very soon. Sooner or later, they will be introduced. So then pretty much we will be working completely online. So now it's partially online, right? So what is penetration testing? So the testing is there because we need to test to see these systems has any vulnerabilities. So what do you mean by vulnerabilities? And most of you are familiar with those, right? So vulnerability is a weakness. Because if there are no any weakness, attackers will not be able to take control of our systems. right? So then in order to, successfully perform an attack, there are three components should be fulfilled. One is there should be a vulnerability, meaning the vulnerability, the definition is existence of weakness. So if there are any weakness in your system, you are safe. Because if attacker wants to compromise a system, particular system must have three components. First is a vulnerability. The second one is known as exploits. So exploits are a defined way of compromising the system using this particular vulnerability, right? So then there should be a vulnerability, meaning the weakness of the system. So depending on the scope, so probably you are testing vulnerabilities on web applications. Sometimes you are testing on internal infrastructure. Sometimes external perimeter networks like firewalls, routers, switches. Okay, so whatever the scope, we are testing to see whether there are any vulnerabilities. So that's where vulnerabilities are really important. To understanding vulnerabilities are very important. So if you can, in other words, if you can remove all the vulnerabilities from the particular scope, there won't be any attack. Even the best attacker in the world will not be able to penetrate into the system or compromise the system. But the question is, guys, building a system without any vulnerability or zero vulnerability is almost impossible. You can say it is secure, and we can say there are no vulnerabilities, but the thing is, we can only assure the system that has that there are no known vulnerabilities. Because when it comes to vulnerabilities are again weaknesses. There can be known vulnerabilities and unreported vulnerabilities as well. That is known as 0 days. Most of you have heard about this word, a term, 0 days. 0 days are vulnerabilities that are not published. So nobody knows there is a vulnerability. So for example, now we are working on Windows 10 systems, 11 systems, and 2022 servers. Probably a small hacker community or the community in a dark web would know there is a loophole in this particular system, right? So which means the vulnerability is not published anywhere, because there are there are known vulnerability, the databases out there. So for example, if I show you a couple of databases, so let's say exploit DB, it's a very famous one. So if you search for exploit DB, you could see there are so many vulnerabilities listed here, right? And also you can see nvd.nist.gov, which is US-based vulnerability database. So if you go to vulnerabilities and if you go to full listing, you can see thousands of vulnerabilities listed here as well, right? So thousands of vulnerabilities. So here you see 2023, the month of March, there are this amount of vulnerabilities listed. So still we are on the 18th March, but here you see the number of vulnerabilities that are recovered by various security professionals and researchers, right? Every vulnerability, they have given a specific or unique number known as CVE number, Common Vulnerability Exposure Number. So when we are testing on an environment, we need to see whether we can find out this vulnerability on the particular scope, right? So scope is very important when it comes to penetration testing, right? Scope is the area that we are going to conduct our vulnerability testing, okay? So it doesn't mean, so conducting vulnerability assessment doesn't mean we are testing each and every system, but it should be the way, but it is not always happening. So for example, let me just draw this, then it will be very clear to everyone. I'm not going to conduct any class here, but I'm just want to give you a better understanding, so then everybody will be clear about this concept that I'm talking about. Because guys, you will become penetration testers in the future, security professionals in the future, security defenders in the future, who knows? Okay, so then you need to have a better understanding. So I think, yeah, this is correct. Now let's say, now this is your infrastructure. Okay, this is your infrastructure or the company's infrastructure. So then usually we have segmented infrastructure, because otherwise, if you have flat network is all the devices in the network in the same IP range. It is not a good thing. I mean, best practice. Because the reason is then if attackers compromise one system, all the other systems are also in the same network, which is easy to penetrate into others as well, right? Now, for an example, here, I'm going to install a firewall here, and then we have a router, which I'm connected from the internet. So this is my internet, and this router is connected to the firewall. So then, this design can be any method, right? So this is the firewall, and firewall is filtering traffic, guys. Okay. So this is your DMZ, demilitarized zone, where you keep all public facing servers, right? For example, web front end server, WFS, or email server, H server is email server, front end service. And also here you can have another firewall, and then all important data stored here, because this is your production environment. This is your production environment where you keep your important data, including mailbox servers, database servers, and so on and so forth. All right. And this is where your Active Directory is sitting, which you connect all our devices, other devices, laptops, workstations in here. Probably here you can install another workstation, and this one is your corporate network. Okay. Now this network is segmented, right? In other words, probably we have networking guys. Let's say here we install and configure class A network, right? Class A network. Here I'm going to configure class B network. Right? Don't worry about this. I'm just going to, a little bit explain the people who are familiar with these, right? So if you are from software development background, don't worry about this. So what I'm trying to say is there are different network segments. I mean, segmented network. All right. So when you have this kind of a segmentation, and if you want to conduct penetration testing, again, what is penetration testing? I think you remember penetration testing is we are trying to look at this environment from the hacker's point of view. If there is an attacker's point of view, we are looking at this environment, infrastructure, right? So then first of all, we need to agree on a scope. Scope is really important, guys, right? Scope is very important because we need to figure out which scope we are going to work on this particular testing. Okay, so then this is the penetration testing cycle or penetration testing methodology. But let me just go to a couple of slides there. Yeah, all right, that's cool. Yeah, so in penetration testing, let me just scroll. Yeah, right. So scope is really important, right? So from the scope, meaning the testers agree to conduct testing on an agreed, area, right? That is known as scope. For example, if you want to conduct penetration testing, you can do penetration testing on the internal network. So then the owner or the IT division or whoever would want to conduct penetration testing with the external consultant, they would say, all right, you guys, you need to conduct penetration testing on the internal network. So then penetration testers would need to access the internal network and conduct penetration testing over the internal network. Okay. In order to conduct this, either we need to have physical access there, meaning consultant has to go there within the network, or they should provide us access to conduct penetration testing remotely. So it can be conducted using SSL VPN or whatever the VPNs that you have. If they have given permission, we can connect to this network and conduct penetration testing. Okay, and there are actually 3 types of testings available in security, because sometimes if you have become a IT manager, for example, in the future, you would need to conduct this testing. So then understanding this is really important. Okay. So one is we do something called security. I think you can see my screen, guys, audit, right? Number one is security audit. It is no difference with other kind of audits like financial audits. What we do is we're going to test whether the environment or the scope is really important, guys. Remember, I spoke about scope. Scope is agreed area to conduct this testing. So security audit will look at the scope to see whether you are maintaining a proper security standards. Because there are internationally agreed security standards as well. For example, if I give you a couple of standards, PCI DSS, everybody know about it, right? DSS, payment card industry standard. And then another one is FERPA, right? Standard. And HIPAA, also known as HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So these are different kind of standards and acts. Okay. For example, if you are working on a health information service, HIS infrastructure, then your infrastructure should comply with Health Insurance Privacy Accountability Act. So that is a standard. So sometimes you may have heard about ISO standard, 92,000, ISO. So these are different standards. So depending on the business process, you need to maintain your infrastructure in a specific standard. So then what will happen is when you need to test whether you have implemented required level of security, we conduct security audit. So then by conducting audit, we are ensuring, all right, your environment is comply with PCI DSS standards, because this standard would give you definitions on how you want to protect your network. So how to keep credentials, what type of password policies you should be having, and what kind of encryption should be there in order to maintain confidentiality, and all this information would be there. Okay, this is known as security audit. The next one, guys, is vulnerability assessment, right? That is known as vulnerability, right? So vulnerability assessment is something that we conduct the next step of the security audit, right? So then when you conduct security audit to see whether your systems are, maintained in a proper standards. And then the next one is vulnerability assessment. So again, we are concentrating on this scope to see whether we can find any known vulnerabilities. So what is vulnerability? I explained earlier, existence of weakness, right? Guys, the next thing is you would think sometimes vulnerability is only related to operating systems, which is not, right? So any weakness, it can be operating system weakness. Of course, if you are having older operating systems like Windows 7, 8, 8.1 now, it can be a vulnerability. Or if you are using Windows 2003 servers, even Linux systems, older kernels, so then you have a vulnerability, of course. At the same time, if you are configuring default passwords, default configurations, again, it's a vulnerability. And if you are using, non-complex password, it can be a vulnerability. And if you have not updated properly the software, embedded software, it's again vulnerable. So there are huge range. So any kind of a vulnerability in your environment, we need to test it, because if you don't know, then there can be a risk to the organization, right? As I said before, vulnerability assessment will scan your environment to see if we can find any known vulnerabilities, right? Known vulnerabilities in the sense, earlier I explained, we are referring these databases to see the particular vulnerabilities exist in our environment. So that has to be within the scope as well. So then how we can conduct vulnerability assessment, I will come back to this topic in a minute. And the next one, the third one is penetration testing. So vulnerability assessment would try to find out if there are any existing vulnerabilities and then we will report the owners the findings and remediations. Findings along with the remediation will be provided to the owners, right? So the third one is penetration testing. Penetration testing is we are trying to simulate a real attack. As I said before, we are trying to become hackers or attackers for a minute, and then we would try to see what attackers can see on the given scope and what attackers can collect from the given specific scope, and then what attackers can do with the collected information about the target. So, and then we will be really compromising the system using exploits, right? So exploitation is there. So exploitation meaning we are simulating a real attack, and some of the exploits we would not use, but some of the exploits we will perform to validate if the vulnerability is real or vulnerabilities exist, right? So these are the three types of different kind of tests. Now you are familiar with, now you're clear about a security audit, vulnerability assessment, and penetration testing. Okay, so now let's go to penetration testing, because the question was related to penetration testing. Okay, so then, as I said before, there are different kind of penetration testing, guys, and this is the penetration testing process. Okay, this is really, really important to understand, and then you need to strict on these steps. The first one is planning and reconnaissance. So first we need to plan accordingly, according to the expected scope. Depending on the scope, this planning can be different, and reconnaissance can be different as well. So for example, our scope can be internal penetration testing, or sometimes our scope can be firewall penetration testing, sometimes external penetration testing, sometimes web application penetration testing, mobile application penetration testing, IoT penetration testing, cloud. So then depending on the scope, we need to plan accordingly what kind of testing we should be completing. I'm just looking at one slide actually. Yeah, so this is the one I want to show you. I think it has gone somewhere down the slide. Let me just quickly go to that one, then it will be really clear to everyone. Yeah, this one, yeah, guys, right? So now penetration testing, always we need to follow a methodology. The first one is pre-engagement and interaction and the scoping. Because guys, let's say there is a person who would want, or company would want to get their infrastructure tested, and then they will reach available penetration, security company like Cisco, or whatever the company is available. So they will reach them and say that, look here, we need to conduct penetration testing. And then we would send them a document to gather some type of information. We don't want all the information, but we would need to know what is their scope, whether the scope is internal penetration testing, external penetration testing, firewalls, so all this information. And if it is internal penetration testing, we are requesting and roughly how many number of devices. Okay, let's say they have 500 desktops or 200 laptops. Okay, so then we collect this information, because we need to do something called costing. This service will not be a free one. So then we need to calculate accordingly. That depends on the number of servers that they have. Usually servers would take more, consuming more time of the testers or consultants. So then we need to price accordingly, because we need to get paid as well, right? We are not doing any charity work when it comes to security testing. So then we need to collect this information. So then let's say a client says we have 100 devices, and then we need to know from out of 100 devices, how many devices are complex devices, how many devices are just normal devices, how many client devices. So they would say that, let's say we have 20 servers and we have 180 laptops. So accordingly, and also we would ask, is there any other scopes that you would like us to do penetration testing, like firewall or web application or email servers, whatever, right? Then they would say, if they want to do, they say yes. If they not, they say no. We have only this scope, and then we would send them our a quotation or proposal for the testing. That is known as proposal usually, not quotation. Quotation is just the pricing, but this proposal goes with all the information that the methodology and all that. And then if the client is happy, the next step is, guys, letter of engagement, right? So before that, we need to sign a document from the client that is known as consent, letter of consent. So letter of consent is a document given by the client to the testing service provider that they authorizing us to conduct an assessment. Okay, so without this document, if we conduct any testing ever, it is not going to be a penetration testing or ethical hacking in other ways. It will become hacking. So it is going to be illegal then, and even they can take us to a custody. Okay, so because of this reason, we need to make sure that we are doing the right thing and we have right authority. So we are sending them a letter of consent. Right, so then they will sign up the letter of consent and send it us, and then from there we will state that number of penetration testers who would be involved into this process, and then probably their MAC addresses of the devices that they are using, and the public IP addresses of our infrastructure that we're going to be conducting testing. Because the reason is there can be a scenario where while we are conducting penetration testing, a real hackers might do the same thing. So then we need to cover our process. So then we provide them what type of IP addresses that we are using, and what kind of what kind of tools that we are using, and what kind of MAC addresses of the devices that we are using, and also the duration when we are planning to start penetration testing and when we are going to complete the process. Okay, so then we are getting the consent and then providing them a letter of engagement that we provide them all the information about the total process and the timing and the pricing and everything. So once we agreed, we can conduct penetration testing. So that is about a little bit insight of what we are going to do. And then first pre-engagement interaction scoping. And then once we agreed, then we do some research that is known as information gathering or intelligence gathering that can be used on DNS reconnaissance, leaked credentials, code repositories, and even some of the questions asked in Stack Overflow. We are trying to collect information as much as possible. Okay, so then we can use different repositories and different security, different kind of services as well. For example, I would like to show you a couple of stuff here. Let me just open up Census, right? Census IO. So it's let me just do search here. So then this has about 2.4 billion services and IP hosts over 213 million devices. So for example, if you search for Windows 2003 devices, it'll list out. So everybody knows, right? 2003 is really, really old server. Microsoft has stopped providing services to 2003 servers, but still you can find a little over 400,000 devices in the internet that is connected, but still have 2003 servers. Okay, and also if you want to search for some of the services that can be done here as well, I'm going to say RDP. RDP is remote desktop protocol. So then these devices are connected to the network as well. And also you would see the city, Taiwan, Russia, United States. So you would see there are lots of IPs listed here, right? So let me just go to one of those. I'm going to click on here and it gives you a list of information. So it says this device is in the United States and the coordinates, and you can see exactly the location of the device. And also there are banners. It has FTP service running. Excuse me, guys. And also, if you are a tester, you can do little verification as well. So I'm going to copy this IP address, and it says FTP is up. So you can try to do little bit FTP here to see whether it is correct. So I'm going to say FTP and IP, and then you would see, yeah, it works, right? So meaning it's FTP server, and also it asks me username and password. I'm not gonna enter this information here now, but if I want to, I can try. Okay, so meaning the FTP is up. What the size, what the census IO says is correct as well. Okay, and also it says HTTP. So how to test if any IP has HTTP? So you need to use a client. So I'm going to use a browser in this case. I'm going to say here, I open up incognito window to private browsing. So I'm going to do HTTP and I'm going to enter IP address. So when you do that, and it will respond with a web application, because the reason is it has HTTP, right? So probably this server is hosting this particular website, right? So this is there, okay? So likewise, you can do some testing as well. And also if you go in there, so RDP is up as well, 3389, meaning RDP, remote desktop protocol. So what we can do is just go ahead and see remote desktop client. So I'm going to do MSTSC, right? And then I can enter the IP address and then I'm going to say connect. So then you could see I can access this as well. So this is how you're performing the testing, guys, right? Penetration testing. I'm going to connect now here. Windows Server 2003 web edition is there. Okay. So we can validate it. And then again, guys, another very important thing to remember is when you start penetration testing, most of our testers forget to collect the information as we go on. Meaning, so they do the testing and after that they are going to complete their report, because the reason is, guys, this methodology, the last one is reporting. So we need to provide a report to the client. So then only client would know if there are any vulnerabilities, any exploits and penetration testing, the successful exploits and the evidences, all that they can see from the reporting. Okay. So if you forget starting reporting now, then you would miss out something. So sometimes findings will not be reflect on the reporting. So because of that, you need to use a proper tool to do that. So I'm using actually Cherry Tree. It's a free and open source tool. It's not a hacking tool. It's not a penetration testing tool, but rather it's a reporting tool. So this reporting tool will be useful to keep all this information on a single tool. So this is the tool, guys. This is the tool. So what you can do is I'm going to say file, a new instance. I'm going to open new instance like this, right? So let's say I'm going to start a node here. Now each and every node, I'm going to conduct this. So let's say my first node is 192. Now let's try to find out a node here, right? Right. So this one I have with old operating system here as well. So I'm gonna go. Yeah. So here my IP is 10.10.10.11. So then I can do 10.10.10.11 is my IP. So if you wanna use it, so you can use different kind of colors as well. So there are different colors as well. So then you know what type of device this is. So here you see if there are more vulnerabilities, you can make it red for the later assessment. And then some nodes, if there are updated, there are no much vulnerabilities, then you can use yellow one, so something like that. So then it's easy to remember all these, okay? So, and then whenever you conduct this assessment, I'm just pretending this is my finding. So I can copy this and I can paste it here. Okay, so then every step is recorded like this. Okay, so then if you're conducting this penetration testing as a group, then everybody can share this information because hackers do the same, right? So hacker communities, if they found something, they will share with others. So then that's the reason most of the attacks outcome will be really, really disastrous, because it's not a single person. There are multiple people involved, multiple communities involved as well. Okay, so that is the scoping. And then we would do intelligent gathering, as I said before. And then next one, so intelligent gathering, we are trying to find out information using DNS repositories, DNS reconnaissance. For an example, I would like to show you another example. Let's say we are conducting penetration testing on a web application. So then let's say for a minute, web application URL is kushanta.com. So then what we can do is we need to collect information. So then one of the things that we can do is I'm going to go to whois, right? Then I'm going to enter kushanta.com and press search. And there you can find out information when it is going to be expired, I mean the domain name, and then when it was taken for the first time, registered in 2020, February, right? And also if you go to DNS records, it would show you what kind of hosting that it has. And then you can see kushanta.com is behind Cloudflare. It's not actually firewall, it's a content management system, content CDN, content delivery network. Okay, so all these information, and it seems MX record is redirected to this one, right? And all this information can be seen here as well. Okay, so you can collect this. And also there are a few other different resources you can find, something like DNS dumpster. It's again another very famous one that most of the testers use this one as well. So here it gives you where the site is hosted, and then the Cloudflare information, MS record if there are any, right? And SPF records, and also other connected components of the website. So everything can be seen here as well. Okay, you can conduct this as well. And then the next one is scanning. So scanning meaning we are scanning the given scope to see whether we can find any vulnerabilities on the infrastructure. So what we would do is to show you how it works. I have hosted, now this one is actually 10.10.10.11. And let's go to one of the other machines. I'm going to open it up here. All right. So I'm going to do nmap scan, right? I'm going to do I can specify what is my port range, right? So I can conduct scanning. So for that scanning, people use different kind of tools, but most of the researchers, most of the penetration testers, they use nmap. Nmap is really, really powerful scanner. You can download it for free, and it has a Windows version as well. I'm using Kali version, guys. You can use Zenmap. You can search and download from nmap.org. So this one is quite similar as well, but it has a GUI version. All right. So this is the one you could see here. Right. So using this, you can do the same thing as well. So once you have gathered necessary information, the next step is scanning, as I said before, and then from that we can find out what is the target operating system, running services, and if you know the services running, and then probably the versions of the services, then we know. We can map these with the existing vulnerability databases to see, for example, this particular web application. It shows me this is Windows XP. I'm just using old operating system to demonstrate, and it shows you these ports are open. Right, so then you would see 135 is open, 445 is open, and you can collect all this information. And out of 2,000 ports, all other ports are closed, but only 3 ports open according to my scanning. And it gives you the MAC address of the device, and it says VMware, meaning this system is virtually hosted. Okay, and also host a scripts results, because it collects this information from the scripts and it gives you this information. So then attacker knows, all right, this target environment, this target system has this operating system, these services running, these applications are there, then you know all this information. And then what we can do is, the best thing is you need to copy all these, right? If possible, and you can copy these, and then you need to maintain this information on our cherry tree. Because I'm going to copy, I'm not sure whether I can get it because this is a different computer. Yeah, I can get it, right? So I can paste it, right? So then this is the scan. I'm going to say nmap scan. So it's easy, guys, because otherwise, if you complete all the testing, scanning, and everything, and when you come back to the reporting, a writing report is going to be so hard. But if you start doing this, by the end of your scanning and the end of your assessment, you have all this information with you. Okay. And then the next one is threat modeling, guys. So once you scan this network, and then the next thing is there are vulnerability assessment tools as well. So there are so many vulnerability assessment tools out there. So let me show you a couple of those. This is one of the pen testers that I've used. If I list out the tools, like we can use Nessus, we can use Open WAS, right? So there are commercial and free tools out there in order to conduct your penetration testing. Okay, so then this is another one known as Checkpoint. It's a Scandinavian product. We use this one as well for mini testing. So this tool will perform scanning for you, and this tool will map the vulnerabilities or known vulnerabilities from the known databases. So then it will give you, all right, these vulnerabilities exist in your system, and what are the remediation steps. So then you need to provide this report to the organization, then they will fix it accordingly. And guys, remember, the fixing vulnerability is not a penetration tester's work. Because if we are trying to go to fix it, there can be so many other problems would be there as well. For example, recently we conducted this kind of a testing and found most of the servers are outdated. And some of the servers, they even didn't know exist in the environment. Okay, because of that, we are not going to fix them. And some of the companies, they provide security services as well, where they will even fix it. But it depends. Okay, so now this Checkpoint one, let me just go to my web application and access Checkpoint. Okay, so this is actually vulnerability assessment tool. Vulnerability assessment tool, or vulnerability assessment scanner. So it's easy. So without just doing Nmap and then collecting information and going through the same process. So instead of that, what we will do is we can straight away scan and map vulnerabilities. Both can be performed together. So I'm going to say demo CyberZilla, and then I'm going to say next. And then I need to enter the IP address of the target. I'm going to say 10.10.10.11 as I remember. And then there are different kind of scanning profiles out there, guys. Here, best scan, SSL, WordPress, quick scan. I'm going to say best one, best scan, popular ports. I'm going to conduct this scanning. So then it will start scanning and search through the IP address that I've given. But if there are more IP addresses, it would take, some time to scan all the IP addresses as well. Okay, so it conducts, and also once you conduct it, it will provide you the results, right? For example, let me just, this one. So this kind of report can be generated after penetration testing is over. So it shows you the number of risks that you have, the higher level of risk, medium risk, low risk, and informative. So then the client's responsibility is they need to fix they need to pay attention on high level vulnerabilities as soon as possible, because this is really severe risk for the organization. And then they need to look at the medium risk ones, low risk ones, and then accordingly other ones as well. Okay, and it shows you this information, meaning these ports are open, which I demonstrated before, and this picked up by the scanning tool. So, and also it shows you the banner versions that I demonstrated before. It would show you these services are running, these banners are there, and all this information. All right. And also these are the risk level. So this has Microsoft Wins remote overflow, Microsoft Print Nightmare remote code execution. So these are many different kind of vulnerabilities. And also, as I said before, it shows you the CVE number, common vulnerability exposure number, and also the output evidences, because in penetration testing, we need to provide evidences as well. Okay, and also it shows you the solution. So according to this one, Microsoft has released a patch. So then they give you exactly the location of the patch. Then we need to download and apply the patch to this one. So likewise, they have given remediative solutions to fix them. So that is the objective of penetration testing or vulnerability assessment. Okay, so I hope you understand this one. And then once you conducted this, so probably we do a manual testing as well, manual verification of each and every vulnerability or penetration testing. Because some organizations wouldn't do, but we do, because it time consuming, but still it gives you better and proper understanding of the penetration testing. Okay, and then the next one is a threat modeling. Threat modeling is after gathering enough information about the system, penetration tester analysis assets, business processes, and human factors to create a threat model. And this should also include attacker perspective, what kind of attack that we're gonna conduct. As I said before, penetration testing is simulating a real attack, guys. Okay, and then vulnerability analysis. So we are analyzing the vulnerabilities, having information about the system architecture, implementing details, and the business process, and also we sometimes create the network map depending on the infrastructure, and then we will perform exploitation. And guys, exploitation is not a part of vulnerability assessment, right? So we discussed three things. One is vulnerability security audit, vulnerability assessment, and penetration testing. So vulnerability assessment, actually up to this point, vulnerability assessment. Okay, and then penetration testing, we will conduct exploitation. So we will try to exploit the target based on the findings, right? And then post exploitation is after exploitation phase, we will gather access data, and then we will provide evidences on our report to the customer or the client. Okay, and also we during post exploitation, after exploitation is completed, what we would do is we would remove or remediate artifacts. Right, artifacts, because as a part of some of the penetration testing, we would install certain tools, right? Or we will inject certain codes. We will be removing, or we must remove this after the testing is over, because we don't want these artifacts to exist on a production environment after testing is completed. So that is known as post-exploitation. And then after post-exploitation is over, we will need to provide a report. Okay, so the next one is reporting. And report has to be concise, clear, easy to understandable, because depending on the audience, because sometimes we are representing the report only to the executive committee or board of directors, or the management, so they would not understand all these technical jargon, guys, right? So we shouldn't be providing the technical stuff on the it can be a little bit technical, but I'm not saying that it has to be completely non-technical words, but it has to be technical as well, but still should be able to understand anyone. So that's the reason most of the tools provide you different kind of tools, different kind of reports. So they have a consultant summary report, and even executive summary reports, technical report, you would see that, right? So consultant report, the summary report, executive report. So summary report is also known as executive report, actually. So it has only 1 or 2 pages. this is in a single page, even better, single page. It shows you exactly what is the overview of this test. I mean, the findings. Because otherwise, usually the directors or managing director or management might not have time, or they will not understand or time or patience to go through this, the results. I mean, the report. Because of that, we should be providing proper, concise, clear reporting to the point and all that, right? So yeah, this is the penetration testing, guys. I would try to, in a very limited time, I was trying to, give you a summary of what is actually penetration testing and how it can be done as well. Okay, so if you have any questions, I think we have questions and answers session later, so you can ask questions during that time. And even if you have time, if you have questions, you can put it to, I think chat window is the best way, because we have around 275 students on this session. So if you start talking, probably it will disturb to everyone. So if you have questions, please post it on the chat window. Okay. All right. So then let's go to the next one. There's another question. I mean, let's go back. Yeah. The second question, so these penetration testing stages, I think I covered this as well. And then penetration testing method, I mean, these again known as scopes, external penetration testing. So external penetration testing, attacker would see externally what attackers can see and what attackers can collect, what kind of information that they can collect, and from the information that they collected, what kind of attack they can launch. Okay, and then the next one is internal testing. So internal tester will access the application behind the firewall or access as an internal employee, because we never know, there can be risks within the organization as well. Right? This is the penetration testing. And there's one more question I would like to answer. It was not actually asked from your audience, but this is usually sort of commonly asked question from this kind of a webinar. The question is, I was talking about known vulnerabilities, and also I explained something called 0 days, right? So the known vulnerabilities, of course, we can scan the environment, check the environment, test the environment to see whether if there are any known vulnerabilities exist. But what about the 0 days then, guys? So we don't know, there can be still vulnerabilities. So because of this reason, we do something called attack surface reduction, right? So attack surface reduction, right? So attack surface reduction is, attack surface is first of all, the avenue that attackers will penetrate into your system. So it can be identities, I mean usernames, it can be devices, it can be applications installed, it can be anything. So that is known as attack surface. So for example, let's say, and I'll give you an example. So many years ago, 10 years ago, easily, so there was an attack targeting Sri Lankan government websites. And at a given time, about 10 sites were compromised. And then Sri Lankan SLCERT, Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Response Team was dealing with all these, and I trained a couple of them, and then I involved, in a informal way. So then what we found was there are so many FTP accounts created on these systems without even knowing the administrators, meaning the site was managed by one company initially, and it was passed to another company, and it was passed to another company. So every time when somebody wants to update the site, the existing administrator just create a username and password, share it with this person. So then there were over 20 FTP accounts created, and even current administrators have no clue who was using these accounts, and all accounts were active. So the FTP accounts are one of the favorite ways for the attackers to compromise systems. Because of that, you need to make sure that these kind of avenues are not there. So what attacker surface reduction does is we are removing unwanted services, applications, IDs, devices from the system. And if you are using a system, we are trying to make sure only minimum required applications are installed. Now, for example, guys, think about your own devices. Think about your own laptops. Just forget about laptops. Think about your phone, right? Just open your phone and see how many apps that you have, how many applications that you have. So here you can see there are so many applications out there as well. And now just think how many of applications that you use now or last 3 months, what are the applications that you use? And I put this question in a different way. What are the applications that you have never used for last 3 months? So then what we can do is potentially we can remove unused application from our device. So that will increase your security level. So that is known as attack surface, meaning earlier I explained in order to perform successful attack, there should be a vulnerability. Okay. And a vulnerability can be introduced by the operating system, application, a user, or anything, any component. So then we never know, even an application can introduce a vulnerability, because if the application is not updated properly, or vendors are not releasing updates properly, there can be vulnerabilities. Okay, so then best thing is removing applications if you are not using. So in a corporate environment, we usually make sure all the services only has required applications only. So then by removing them, we are reducing attack surface. And if the number of user accounts that you created, and if the users are not, they are not anymore using accounts, so they are resigned. So then you can remove the identity. So by doing so, we can reduce the attack surface even without knowing if there are any vulnerabilities. All right. So I think it is clear. If you have any questions, as I said before, you can ask during the Q&A session, or even you can ask now. Right. So let me just check the time. The time is 11 minutes past 10. So we'll go to the next one. Next topic that is known as hacking challenges on the steroids. So then now there are so many CTF, right, catch the flag kind of contests around the world or online stuff. So I collected a couple of stuff to be presented, because this is one of the ways that organizations research on the skill set of the testers, because security or cyber security is going to be one of the, it is now, it is well-demand profession. For example, Australia and New Zealand, there are so many opportunities for the cyber security professionals, and then they are getting they are getting paid well as well. So highest paid jobs are in cyber security field, and there are so many numerous opportunities out there as well. But for the correct, the correct guys, right? So the people who has a correct skill set, and including attitudes, guys. So it's not only the technical skills, but also they should be able to work as a team and cope up with a team, and attitudes, right? So I don't have to explain this here. So then, and then these are one of the methods that the companies look for skill sets. So they conduct lots of hacking challenges. That's what I just want to talk about, and hacking challenges on the steroids. So there are so many online repositories or resources out there. Some are free, some you need to pay a little amount in order to use their infrastructure. For example, Over the Wire, and then CTF 365, Hacking Lab. So there are different kind of CTF challenges out there where you can develop your skill set. So what I would like to, so there's another question. One question asked from, from NSBM. What course or skills do you recommend for someone who wants to do the job, internship as a security auditor? Number one, this person need to have basic understanding of security. And as an entry requirement, as an even intern for the most of the security organizations like KPG, and PricewaterhouseCoopers and Ernst and Young and Sri Lanka, there are many organizations. They are looking at if you have required prerequisites. I mean, they need to know whether you have sufficient level of knowledge on this particular area, because otherwise they will have to train you from the scratch. So they would look at whether you have done any cybersecurity related degree or professional qualification. So if you have these, or if you have both, you are in a better position to get this kind of opportunity, right? So then I would recommend you to, while you are doing your university education, so take time to do a professional certification as well, because most of the organizations nowadays looking for professional qualifications rather than academic, because academic is good to have. I'm not saying academic qualification is I'm not demeaning academic qualification, because it should be there. Otherwise, when you get the job, there are required academic qualifications as well. But in order to start the work, they will be mainly look at whether you can do the job. Right? Even if you have a degree, if you cannot perform the job properly, then it is going to be useless. Okay, because of that, they need to know whether you are in a position to perform the job. So then, in order to cater this, having a professional qualification like certified ethical hacker, computer network defender, so then it will be really useful for you to obtain this opportunity. Okay, and the next thing is the hacking challenge is one of the methods. So here you see there are so many sites, Portable and NetGarage. There are so many, right? You can search and find out hacking challenges. There are various hacking challenges out there. So you can practice there. But apart from that, I would suggest you to build your own lab environment. It is the easiest to do. So if you have a decent, you're welcome, Navoda, thanks for asking this question. So the next important thing is just build your own lab environment, and then you can test it, right? So what I did was here, so I'll just a little bit explain here since you're asking this question from me. So what I did was I installed VMware workstation, and then it's a virtualization, but you need to have decent level of resources. I'm not saying you need to have i7 16 GB RAM. In my case, I have, but I do, because I'm professionally working on that, right? So you don't have to have all these, now if I go to system info, so this is my system actually, guys. I'm using a 16 GB i7 device, but it's not a requirement. I mean, like, so here you have my, it is x64 based PC, a single physical processor. It's a laptop actually. And it has 16 GB RAM, but you don't have to have that. Only thing is you need to be mindful that you have, let's say 4 GB RAM or 8 GB RAM or whatever, right? So then here you can create a virtual machine. So I have Kali is one of the very, common or commonly used tiger boxes, right? So you can download Kali ISO or VMware version, Kali VMware. Okay, so I think this is, so this is the documentation. Sorry, guys. Let me just go back to Kali virtual servers. So no, I went to IBM, I guess. Kali, so this is the one, right? So you can download Kali Linux directly. It's a free and open source. So here you have a couple of options out there. So you can download virtual machines. If I go here, you could see VMware virtual machines. I would recommend downloading this. So even you have ISO to be downloaded. So you can download directly Kali ISO file. So then you need to install by yourself. But if you are a beginner, I would recommend you to download directly VMware virtual machine. It's a pre-built one. So you can just download and import it to virtual machine here. Right, so you can download and import it to virtual machine, and same way you can install, Windows 7.1 X, because you can install Windows 10 and 11, of course, Windows 2012, Windows 2022 servers, Windows 2019 servers, you can install. But I would recommend you to install some, old operating systems as well, because newer operating systems has built-in security features. So because of that, to understand architecture, understand how it works, okay, it's best to use old operating system. For example, if I go to Windows XP, so there you can find out so many, technologies that they use and how they are working, okay, all that. For example, if I go to, again, XP1, because I do a lot of research with this, and then once you found something, then you can go ahead and check with the later operating system as well. And there is another question asking, what about VirtualBox? VirtualBox is also good, Shifan. VirtualBox is good, but the problem is some of the configuration is a bit harder in VirtualBox. I will show you how, right? Let me just log into this one. Right, so it's again XP machine, so, right? Now, for example, now let's say I'm gonna go to this virtual machine just to show you one option here. Right. So here, now let's say in this particular virtual machine, I mean this XP machine, there are a number of users created. Right. So if you go in there, you can see there are a large number of users created here. So if I want to find out what are their credentials. Now let's say I'm going to use this one, right? OCrack. If you install this one, and if you download, if you do dump here, if you dump the password file here, you could see all their credentials. If you go in there, now you see here, right? So it shows you all the users' username and the hashes. Hashes are actually passwords, guys, encrypted passwords. Okay, but newer systems, we have something called secure boot, safe boot, credential guide, kind of additional protections where this process is not easy as this. But in order to understand Windows architecture, it's really good to have this kind of a old operating system. Then you can try out, break it, and then you can use it. So there was a question: what about VirtualBox? VirtualBox is also good. You can do the same. But here, guys, what I have done was, let me just go to network editor. So I have configured entire virtual network for my virtual environment using this, right? So for example, I have configured here to provide 10.IPs to all the virtual machines, because otherwise I will have to manually configure those. If you're using VirtualBox, for example, you need to manually configure this. But what I did was I have configured DHCP settings where whenever I deploy new virtual machine, virtual VMware itself provide IP address to each and every virtual machine. So I don't have to do it manually. Okay, so this is one thing. And the next thing is, let's say for different kind of hacking. Now, let's say if you want to hack, wireless hacking. So then you need to use USB Wi-Fi adapter, something like this. And if you are connecting USB Wi-Fi adapter to the virtual box, then it will not directly communicate with this virtual guest machine. But if you connect this to let's say VMware, I'm going to connect it now. See here. So it asks me, see here, it asks me which virtual guest machine I want to connect, physically connected network adapter. So then I can say that, all right, connect this network adapter to Kali 2021 machine. Okay, I did it. And if I go in there, let me just go into 2022 one. Now you see my virtual network adapter is detected Yeah, as well. So here you see it's been connected. Now, if I go to, if I do, let's say IW config. So here you see virtual LAN is there, right? Virtual adapter is detected. But if you use VirtualBox or if you use Hyper-V, it is not that easy. Okay, so I hope you understand. So then this is another way. So you can build different kind of operating systems. You can use Ubuntu, you can use Windows, you can use Linux, you can use Android emulators. So you can build your test environment to test it. So there are so many tiger boxes out there. You can use Kali Linux, you can use Security Onion, you can use Windows Commander. It's another Windows-based tiger box with all these tools to conduct penetration testing. And then there is another one, Parrot Security, right? So you can find out so many other, this kind of, a Predator. Okay, so many different kind of distros you can just build in there. So if you have only 4 GB RAM, so you can carefully configure each and every virtual machine, how much resources that you want to allocate. Probably you can allocate a little bit of resources. I think the 4 GB RAM is not that good. So in this case, here you see my Windows XP virtual machine has only 2 GB RAM configured. And in my Kali Linux, I have configured, I think, 4 GB RAM. So likewise, you can allocate. So whenever you want to run multiple machines, so here 4 GB RAM. If you want to run multiple virtual boxes, then you need to ensure always the combined value of memory is always combined value of the memory always less than your physical memory. So then without any problem, you can use this. Okay. So then that is one. And the next one is bug bounty programs. And bug bounty programs are there to understand any vulnerabilities, because the bigger companies don't worry about, our own organizations, guys. Just think about Facebook, Google, YouTube. These larger companies, still they are not very sure about whether they have any vulnerability. Of course, they have proper processes to remove known vulnerabilities by conducting vulnerability assessments, penetration testing, but they don't know about 0 days, right? Nobody knows about 0 days. Okay, so if I found something, others would not know until I publish on a vulnerability databases. So then what they can do is they offer certain offers for people to come and test their infrastructures. Once they posted and they validated it's a vulnerability, they will be paid. So they will pay you depending on the vulnerability that you recovered. And then there are different levels of vulnerabilities that they define. So information kind of vulnerability, you will get a small amount of money. If it is a medium kind of vulnerability, you will get higher amount of money. Then if it is very severe kind of vulnerability, if you recovered and if you submitted the bug to the bug bounty programs, they will give you heaps of money kind of thing, because they don't have to, otherwise, if an attacker found this and if they use this for attack or compromise systems, then companies in a grave danger. Right. For example, even last year, there was a huge telecommunication provider in Australia being compromised. They compromised, I think, about 500,000 of people, private information, they compromise and publish on the web. So then the company is Optus actually. It is something similar to Dialog in Sri Lanka. It's one of the large telecommunication providers. So the company has to bear the cost of, because mainly they compromise driver's licenses. So then all these users, driver's license has to be replaced with newer driver's license. So the cost bared by the company. So we don't know how much money they have to spend if there is an attack. Right, because of this reason, everybody wants to maintain their security tightly and hardened and properly. Because of this reason, they would spend time and money to improve the security of the organization. Okay, because of that, you will have better opportunities in the future. if you learn properly and understand, and the next thing is, guys, even though sometimes you might be doing a cybersecurity degree, or sometimes you might have done professional courses like penetration, certified ethical hacker, computer hacking forensic investigator, certified network defender kind of professional qualification, but still you need to invest some time on yourself, because otherwise you will not be, proficient about these this area. And there's another question: what is the roadmap for the certificate we can do? As in, what is the order of certifications we can do, like OSCP, CEH, CISSP, CompTIA? It's a really good question, guys. Now, in order to start with, you need to have basic understanding of security. So then, if you have done any, academic courses or certifications, so then you know about it. If not, so EC Council has a program called Certified Secure Computer User. It gives you basic understanding about security on 10 domains. So it's a great way to start. And then once you have a fair understanding of cybersecurity, then you can do something like CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker program. It's an offensive security program. You will learn how to hack, what are the hacking phases, methodology, penetration testing, how to conduct properly testing. And then probably you can think of OSCP, open offensive security certified professional, because there they will take you through advanced penetration testing, advanced exploitation writing, and all these areas. So then OSCP is the next. So CISSP, certified information security professional, from ISACA, I would recommend this to do this. Even not me, even they themselves ask you to do this qualification after you have 5 years of experience on the field. So once you started working as a cybersecurity professional, after 5 years, then you are ready to do CISSP, because CISSP is nothing to do with implementations or groundwork. That is mainly strategic decisions, how to maintain the proper governance of security. So that's why CISSP has to be done after you have proper experience. Right. So thanks for asking this question, guys. The time is 10:30, I think. In Sri Lankan time, of course, 10:31. I hope the morning session is informative. And then after organizers the session or a small break, I would like to talk about the next areas of the agenda, starting off with emerging attack vectors, DDoS attacks, SQL injection, and session hijacking. And I would like to show you a couple of demonstrations of, whenever necessary. So until that time, over to you, organization committee. Thank you very much for your patience and support. I hope today morning session is informative. Over to you, the organization committee. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kusanta. And it's really, it's a good approach. Actually, we got a nice information and much knowledge from this. Actually, now it's the time for the first quiz. Remembering again, we request you all to rename with your university name and the index number, right? All right. So there will be a poll in the Zoom meeting and everyone can insert your answers. So the prizes are just few steps away from you guys. Keep your eyes on the screen, hands on the mouse, and you can take and you can grab special discounts if you score well in this poll. So the technical team, are you ready with the poll? Okay, now the poll is appearing. You can start answering. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. So you can see the poll again, or else there's a Google form you can submit from that. Okay, you can see the poll again, so you can try again. Guys, 4 minutes remaining. Just try your best to achieve the scores. Just 4 minutes remaining, so you can grab some discounts and prizes from the Cisco IT solutions. So 4 minutes left. Try your best to score well.
I can see like the participants counts engaging in the quizzes increased every minute. And I hope you all like submit your answers. It can be right or wrong. Just give a try. If you try, actually, you'll get eligible for that scholarship also. So just give a try. Come on, guys.
Also, if you are unable to just use the portal, you can use the Google form. Yeah. Guys, you need to hurry up because another 1.5 minutes is remaining. So just give your answers. We are waiting.
One minute more. Hurry up. If you have not tried the quiz yet, you have 50 seconds more. Still, you can start the quiz and give a try. Come on, guys. I can actually visibly see the participants count increasing here. Great job, guys. Come on. Twenty seconds more. Ten seconds more. And the time is up.
Okay, so don't worry if you're just unable to attend the quiz. We have right 2 quizzes along in our journey. So if you missed one quiz, you can try in the next one. So Joshi, it's over to you.
Yeah, hope you all did a great job here, I guess, because I was like visibly seeing the participants counts increasing in the poll. You can, I would like really appreciate that you got all tried actually. You gave it a try actually. That's a great spirit to try at least. We'll hope for good results with fingers crossed. And let me hand over the session to Mr. Kushanta to continue with his insightful session.
Thanks, Joshi. Thanks, everyone. I think you have done. I could see the quiz responding so many people to the quiz. It's good that it's a really good sign that everybody's concentrating on the session. Thanks for that. So let's go to the next couple of topics. So number one, I think these topics are actually not proposed by us or Siskia, but within the community, there were some requests to cover these topics. Okay. The third one is emerging attack vectors. So before I start this one, I mean, with really going into in-depth information and all these couple of topics, I have only used single slide, but I would like to talk about this bit more because I don't like to put lots of text to my presentations because that will sort of distract the audience, and I don't like to just read the slide in front of you. That's the reason as well. Okay, so emerging attack vectors is a really good topic proposed by your community as well. So as I said before, just when starting the session in the morning, we are connected, right? So everybody is connected in this world. So if you remember, I remember before probably 25 years ago when I created my email account, you won't believe the security question to reset my password was, what is your birthday? You wouldn't believe. From the famous Google, right? So I created Google email account, I think before easily 25 years ago. When I create this account, the security question to reset the password was, what is your birthday? Okay. But now with social media, everyone knows my birthday, guys. Okay. So then if you have, especially if you are on Viber, if you are on, I think even Skype does it. So then all your friends, it will notify today's Kushanta's birthday. Today is not my birthday, but however, it shows that. So then if anybody wants to reset my password, they can pretty much use it. Okay. And the second common security question at that time was mother's maiden name. Okay, so if you think about your mothers, I think 80% of the participants here, your mothers also in Facebook, right? So easily, if anybody access your profile can see who are your parents if they are on the Facebook. And if they go into your mother's Facebook account and go and check her account information, if she has brothers, the brothers' surnames would be directly mother's maiden name. So then finding out mother's maiden name is not hard now, right? So then all these questions, just imagine, these questions were the security questions before 20 years ago. I'm not that old, but like 20 years ago, I think, right? So it's not proper calculation, but yeah, roughly it's that. So with this, now, at that time, it's fine because nobody knows your mother's maiden name unless if they are very, very close to your family, right? At that time, they don't know your birthday if they are your friends or if you study together. Otherwise, they wouldn't. But nowadays, it's easy, right? And also, even though we are not thinking about it, every one of us is connected. And sometimes, and there are a couple of scenarios, because I was working with police academy in Sri Lanka, training them for cyber crimes. So what they say was, they said that, some of the issues, I mean, the reported cases to, police and all, I mean, let's say the easiest example is one person's mobile phone was stolen. That person's mobile phone was stolen. And then they were trying to figure out who has stolen, but they couldn't find the person who steal the phone. And somehow, after some time, this person's Facebook account was uploaded a couple of photos of a lady. They were wondering how it happened. But what happened was this particular person's phone didn't have a PIN apparently, but the Facebook account is connected to mobile phone camera application. So in other words, if you take a photo, it will be straight away uploaded to the Facebook. Okay. So then what happened was, then he went to police and provided the photos. From that, they found the person who steal the phone. So that guy, he has stolen the phone, but has not resetted the phone. He straight away started using it. Okay, so I think he has removed the SIM and insert his own SIM, which has data, so connected to internet. So whenever he has taken, I think he has taken photo of his wife, or I don't know, it was uploaded to that guy's Facebook account because the camera app was directly integrated with or connected with Facebook. That is the reality. Because the reason is, even without our knowledge, every one of us are connected. And then whenever we use devices, these devices are keep on monitoring, keep on collecting information about us. And whenever you access a website, they also connect information. They also connect information about you, right? So it's a separate topic. Actually, guys, I have written a book related to this as well. This is known as cyber anonymity. I don't know whether you can see this. So in this book, I've done actually research, and then I have written actually how they collect information. So those days, whenever you access any application or website, they collect your IP. Now, for example, let's look at this one. Okay, so otherwise you will not, 100% understand what's going on. Let's go in here. So if I do here, what's my IP? So it shows my public IP, right? So these where my internet connection is, my connection is connected to internet, and I have given this public IP. So then for entire world, for this particular moment, this is my IP. This is my public IP. But what if in my network, number of other people are connected to internet too, right? So there are a few other people, they are connected to internet. They also, for them, the public IP is this one. Everybody knows about it, right? So then if I access any website, if they only collect my public IP, they don't collect much information about me. But instead, now they use something called cookies. We'll come back to this point in a minute. So cookies. So cookies are tiny little files that are created within your browser. Okay, that the main idea of cookies. So there are different kind of cookies like first-party cookies, third-party cookies, and so on and so forth. So then typically they're collecting information about your browsing behavior. So that's the reason whenever now, let's say this is my Gmail account, right? So this is my Gmail account. And if I straight away close my account here, this one, I'm going to close it like this. And then if I open another tab, and if I click on Gmail, I'll be directly connected. I don't have to enter my username and password. Right, so that is one way of maintaining. This is actually known as session. So we have another topic called session hijacking. So I will discuss this whenever we are going to that point. But however, this is one of the ways they collect the information. However, if you now, for example, let's say if you go to eBay, and if you search something on eBay here, so I have not logged into eBay and still, so here you see my sign in is here. I have not logged into eBay. But if I search something, let's say Samsung, Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy. Okay, if I search this here, I search for Samsung Galaxy. All right. And then I'm going to go and check these couple of stuff here, right? And then probably you close this browser. And if I open it again, eBay, right? So now eBay is showing me phones, right? right? So now eBay is showing me mobile phones. Why? Because eBay just noticed I'm interested in phones. I'm interested in phones, right? So that's what it does. So then the issue is, guys, I have not logged in. How eBay knows that I was searching for mobile phones? Because the thing is, whenever I log into eBay, my browser would check whether it has eBay cookie. Cookie is a piece of file that is created within the browser. So again, if I use another browser, I'm on Chrome now. If I go to, let's say, Brave is another browser which does not compromise your security much as others do. So if I open, let's say here, this is another browser, guys. And now if I access eBay, now if I search eBay and if I access eBay, this eBay would not showing me mobile phones because this is a separate browser. The cookie is browser specific, right? So it has no clue about my previous search. But if I go to Chrome knows I access this one. So if you go into my browser and if you search for the cookies under privacy and security, you can see cookies and other data. So then block third-party cookies, yes, but I have not unblocked other cookies. So they collect information about me, my browsing behavior. So not only that, guys, if you go to myactivity.google.com, I think I have demonstrated this previously as well. So even Google collects this information, right? So if you go to location activity, I have switched off location activity of mine because let's go to manage history. Because I don't want Google to collect all the information about each and every of my movements. But in order to demonstrate, I have enabled in 2019 a couple of months. Okay, otherwise, after that, I switch it off. So if I go to any of the days, it shows me exactly what are my movements are. So here you see, I was, driving and even driving. Here you see, even walking. I was walking, I was driving 1 hour, I was on the train. So everything specifically Google is collecting about information. Okay, they are collecting information, guys. And also I demonstrated earlier, eBay. Not only eBay, I'm just giving you an example. I can show you how hundreds of examples. So they collect information, not only, even Microsoft does it, right? So if I go to Microsoft settings here, and if I go to privacy, and if I go to diagnostic and feedback. So if you install diagnostic data viewer, they collect information. Oh, my device is sharing some information about, so these are actually known as, so here, these are shown, sent to them as well. Okay, so these data sharing with Microsoft as well. So they're collecting information. All right. So then now, since these are connected to each other, so the different attack vectors are introduced. So for example, earlier I explained something called attack surface. Attack surface is avenues that attackers can compromise the systems. So then I explained earlier, in order to increase the security, we need to reduce attack surface. So if you have unwanted, unused applications installed in your system or mobile phone, please remove it, right? So if you want it, you can install it again. But the thing is, if you have not, removed it, what can happen is, if this particular one of the applications, has become vulnerable, your entire device can be compromised without any issue. We need to reduce the attack surface. But with the new technologies, with new applications, we are installing more newer and newer applications every other day. And even different organizations are introducing different applications for different purposes. So then it's increasing attack vectors as well, right? Attack surface, increasing attack surface as well. So then emerging attack vectors can be social engineering attacks. So social engineering attacks are very common these days, right? Social engineering attacks are instead of attacking, complex firewalls, complex routers, complex switches, or complex, other security tools. They just attack the users, right? So because if they compromise the users or exploit users, they can easily find out this information. And one of the ways that they can introduce, vulnerabilities are through the phishing attacks. So most of the organizations compromise using phishing. So one of the attacks recently, not reported actually, we were working with them. I'm not going to reveal the company name, but I was actually working to recover the infrastructure a couple of months ago in Australia. It is one of the well-known organizations, companies in Australia. They were attacked by ransomware attacks. So I think ransomware attacks. So it's one of the malwares, a type of malware known as ransomware. Ransomware. So ransomware is something. Sorry, let's go back here. Ransomware is one of the type of malware. Ransomware. Ransomware. What they do is, once infected, they will encrypt the infrastructure and demand for ransoms. So they say that we want this amount of money. It's not real. I mean, now let's say this is the server, and once ransomware infected, they will encrypt the entire server. Encryption meaning they will convert all the data to human unreadable format. We will not be able to read it. If it is a document, you will not, be able to open it as a document. So then there will be a text file saying that you are attacked, and then you will have to, pay Bitcoin, this amount of money. So actually, they were requesting or demanding $500,000, US dollars, 500,000 in order to share the key. Okay, and then they were negotiating, and they bought it up to, I think, $300,000, $500,000 to $300,000. And then they actually paid for it. So this company is not our client, but whenever they were attacked, they came to us, and at that time, actually, they have already paid. We were not able to, analyze or investigate anything. They have already paid, and they got the key. Even with the key, they were not able to restore the system. So we restored the system for them, and it took about a couple of weeks because everything is encrypted. So they had file servers, database servers, backup servers, every single server is encrypted. And some of the profiles were having hundreds, thousands or thousands of files. Every single file was encrypted. And the next thing is they had VMware enterprise infrastructure, and their volume is also encrypted. So everything is encrypted. Okay. So because of that, these are the different kind of the vectors. And when we investigated, actually, I found it was attacked through a phishing mail. Okay, phishing mail is something that look like legitimate, but it is not a legitimate mail, but it does something very harmful. Okay, so now there are so many tools that attackers can even create their own phishing mails. So for example, if you use this kind of Kali Linux, let me just go to here. I think I demonstrated this one as well last time as well, since we have new attendees. So let's try to just quickly show you. So there is a tool called SC Toolkit. I think they had SC Toolkit. This is the one. So using this one, I think it's sudo SC Toolkit. Yeah. So when you So using this tool, you can, convert any web application as a phishing mail. Let me just go to Google. Let's say Sampath Bank. Let's go to Sampath Vishwa. Or let's say People's Bank Online. So something I'm just looking for Sri Lankan something. Online banking. I think login, yeah, this one. Yeah. So let's say this is the login information. So they had another one as well. Let me just go to. This one, yeah, this one, right? So I'm going to copy this one here, guys. Let me just user login. I'm going to click on user login. So these again user login information. I'm going to copy this one here, and then go to toolkit. So here we have social engineering toolkit, and then website attack vectors, and then credential harvester, and then site clone. So there you have web templates. So if you want to do it's Facebook, YouTube, the normal ones, they have that. But I'm going to do site cloner, and then IP address for post back, I think 10.10.10.8. I'm going to say 8. And URL, I'm going to paste the URL here. Okay. And it will take a couple of minutes. Right. So then it creates the it creates the phishing site. So if I open up another one, so here I'm going to open up another browser. I'm going to do http://88. So here you see they have created completely a clone. They have cloned a website. So it's easy, right? So it didn't even take even a minute, right? So like less than 10 seconds, you can create a fake account. So if you send this to someone, and if they enter their information, let's say if they have bank accounts, if I enter, let's say Kushant and the passwords and 9383, so I'm going to click on login, and it takes us to the correct one. But at the same time, it steals the information on the attacker machine. So here you see username is Kushant, password is this one, and CAPTCHA are collected. So same way they can do email related stuff as well. So so I could have shown you actually the email that particular company was receiving, but they had the company signatures and all that. So because of that, I can't actually show you. So these things happening. Okay. So then whenever they conduct the phishing attack, then they can compromise the system. Actually, ransomware has compromised. So ransomware infected the company through a phishing mail. There was an attachment. So these guys have opened this ransomware, phishing file. So then it has infected the entire system. And there was another question: is there any possibility to ISP companies to identify user from public IP if there is user is using normal home router? So one of the question, Dushan from USJ. He's asking, is there any possibility to ISP companies to identify user from public IP if the user is using normal IP router? Yeah, so it's a good question. So what will happen is, guys, so you have in your whatever the router that you are using. So this is the router, right? So one interface, you have public IP. The other interface, you have private IP. Public IP and private IP. So in my case, if I explain a little bit more, my public IP is, I can say, my IP. What's my IP? It shows you this 123.3.111.2.3. So this is my public IP. 123.3.3.3.3. 11. So let's say this is my public IP. So what is my private IP? My private IP is, guys, if I do IP config, it will show you my public IP. So this is my public IP. Yeah. 50, yeah. So let's say this is actually a wireless LAN adapter. So this is my public IP, private IP and public IP. So the question is, can ISP identify user from public IP if there is using no? So what router doesn't matter, right? Normal router or whatever the router that use router that doesn't matter. But how they do is they have actually this public IP address was assigned by ISP. Now let's say you are with SLT, Sri Lanka Telecom, or you are with Dialog, so whatever the ISP, right? So when they assign an IP, they assign this IP using DHCP, Dynamic Host Control Protocol. So then what they do is, whenever they assign this IP address to you, they keep a track of the timestamp because the DHCP IPs are getting changed. So now you have 123.3.3.11. And next time you can have 123.3.3.7, for example, because dynamic IPs are going to change. They are going to change. So then ISP will have information about this particular IP and what is the duration that you are holding, right? So because of that, even if you conduct something and if you reset the router or rebooted the router, yeah, chances are there you will get a newer IP, but that doesn't mean ISP cannot trace you back. Okay, because they have all the logs of the access, access types and all that. So they will be able to, or they should be able to provide you, all right, this IP was assigned to this particular phone number during this time. So then you will get caught. Okay. So I think that gives you that gives answer to your question. So it doesn't matter the route because they will not check the log files on your router or the modem, but they have logs on DHCP server. DHCP service. So then from that they can trace back. But when I similar thing happened actually. Somebody's blackmailing, I think, in Sri Lanka. So then I gave instructions, and then when the police got the required information and they contacted one of the main ISPs in Sri Lanka, what they have done was they have given information, but they said that this may not be accurate, but I don't know why they said that, but they have told this is the person who was having, at that time, but it might not be accurate. I'm talking about 5 years ago in Sri Lanka, but theoretically they should be able to locate you. All right. So then these are different kind of attack vectors: phishing, DDoS, viruses, malware, brute forcing, and all that. Apart from that, guys, another emerging attack vectors is OS and IoT. Sorry, OT and IoT. That is another area. OT, IoT. Actually, these two areas we are discussing when we conduct penetration testing. I'm a certified ethical hacker program. So then IoT is Internet of Things. Probably you may have heard about IoT, right? IoT devices, because IoT devices are very affordable, cost effective, and very useful devices that mostly people use as a CCTV systems and converting dumb devices like your door lockers, and then dumb devices like the fans, and you can just control these devices using your mobile applications. Okay, that is another area. And in Australia, I'll give you another example. In Australia, whenever you park the car, they measure the time. I mean, there are designated locations to park the cars. In Sri Lanka, you can, park the car anywhere, and you will not usually get fined. But here, there are locations to park. Let's say if you want to park your car for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours, 4 hours. So they have designated areas, and then huge car parks, designated areas. And if you park, let's say your vehicle in 3 hours slot, and if you park it for 4 hours, then you will be fined. Okay, there will be a parking ticket issued, and it's a huge amount, so you will have to pay. Okay, that is how they work. And I was wondering when I came here initially. So then I was thinking how they do that, because the car parks are huge. Like, there are thousands of cars out there, and every single minute a couple of cars goes out, some of the cars comes in, and they are moving and all that. So how they specifically find out how this car is parked? I mean, over the time they parked. How they do that, right? They use IoT devices. Actually, these IoT devices act as sensors as well. So they embedded these sensors within the car park. So when you park the car, they know there is a vehicle. And also, I was wondering, even the airport, and whenever you enter, I mean, there are multi-level car parks out there. So there are thousands of cars parked. And then before you enter, it shows you level 1, there are 3 slots available, you can park. And level 2, there are only 1 slots available. There is only 1 slot available. And level 5, there are 50 slots available. So likewise, it shows you whenever you enter to the car park. I was wondering, like, how they do that, right? Because in Sri Lanka, for example, if you go to World Trade Center, so you will have to drive around and around to find a slot. So then I was thinking, but what if they do is they have actually installed IoT devices, and they sense whenever you park a car on top of the sensor, they know there is a car. And if the car park over 3 hours and the parking slot is only designated for 3 hours, they send an alert to the person. I mean, and it can be completely automated as well. So then you will receive the ticket to your home, by mail. But if not, this person will come and just straight away paste the ticket. Okay, that can be. So those are actually emerging areas. And also the vehicle personal assistance systems are installed, like Alexa, and most of the cars like Mercedes-Benz, they have Mercedes car assistance systems, and Ford, they have their own one, and Toyota has, and likewise, there are so many assistance systems involved. And these assistance systems are connected to personal assistance systems like Alexa, and also Google, Hi Google, and Siri. So all these systems can now integrated as well. So then once you integrated, these introduce more attack vectors as well, right? So I hope overall you can understand. This provides heaps of avenues to attack us even without our knowledge. Sometimes we install CCTV systems to protect ourselves, but without even knowing, these systems can create certain vulnerabilities as well, because most of the cheap systems, they use common interfaces, common applications to connect with. And if attacker can access, they will be able to, analyze which and which, who's there as well. So if I show you one example, give me 1 minute, guys. I'm going to write this one here. So then they will be able to access your, CCTV systems and find out what you are doing actually, who's inside the home or office. So then from that, they will be able to collect it. And also some of the cameras are not protected at all, right? For example, if I show you this one, let me just Google these cameras. I'm gonna Google here. All right. Yeah, so if you search for it. So here you see this particular camera without any protection. You can just Google it and see. So here you see this is one of the internal set of cameras. So if you open it, you can see even the areas. You can see these old cameras and all that. So this person is working now. Likewise, so there are so many cameras out there you can access. without even providing username and password, right? So that's the reason I said nowadays we are connected even without our knowledge. So sometimes if we walk by, if you go somewhere like this, and you're getting recorded, you don't even know that you're recorded. Okay, even Google Maps, other maps kind of software. So they are sending the vehicles to record and update the map. So these vehicles can take images of the people. So a lot of privacy issues out there as well. So that's that. And also, if you want to search for a specific devices that are installed in your house or home, so that also, even through the Google, there are a number of specific tools out there as well. But if you search for Google, you can find out web admin logins without any issue. Web admin login. So here you see the Huawei Firewall Web Management System. You can directly access. Okay, even home modems. If you want to access home modems, you can access as well very easily. Just searching on the Google, you can search for it. Search and find out, and then even you can use Sensis, you can use Shodan, different kind of web search engines out there. You can use it, and then if you use a default username and password, definitely they can access as well, right? So definitely they can access, right? So then another topic that you would like to discuss, since the time is running as well, I'm just looking at the time, right? So next one is attack and countermeasures. So as of now, we discussed lots of different kind of attacks, right? So I will demonstrate a couple of other stuff as well. But if there are these kind of attacks, how we can protect ourselves? So this is, personally, this is a problem. And as a community, we have problem. As a university students, you have this problem. And as organizations, they have huge problem of attackers. Because the moment you expose your systems, for example, if you start provide services over the internet, anybody can try to access your system. Anybody can try to, see if there are any vulnerabilities. And if they found any vulnerabilities, they can compromise the systems as well. Okay. Now, for example, most of the companies in Australia and even Sri Lanka, they have given you opportunity for the students or the users to connect to these, systems or working from home options. So then working home option is there. Attackers also can try to connect to your infrastructures. That is a risk for the organization. So then how we can protect our infrastructures from different kind of attacks. Okay, so since we have limited amount of time, I will just give you some understanding. One of the method is a layered security. So we can implement layered security in your organization, starting off with segmented network. So in the morning, I was talking about segmented network, without having just a flat network that everybody can see everyone. So you can create virtual VLANs or separate networks. So then only specific designated people would be able to communicate and see each other. Their communication, because otherwise there are so many technologies out there. The attackers can listen to the network, sniff the network. They can see what's going on. Even the username and password can be collected without any problem. So these, because of these issues, we have to be very much mindful when designing networks for the organization. If you are working from home, I mean, if you are connected to home network, it doesn't really matter. But if you are connected to airport or public Wi-Fi, then it is going to be matters, because we don't want others to see our communication. So then layered security is one. So nowadays we are using something called endpoint protection devices, ERD solutions, right? Endpoint protection and remediation solutions. It's not only antivirus solutions. So those days we were talking about only antivirus, but now we have ERD solutions, right? Endpoint detection and response system. So then they can actually look at some of the attacks and attack movements, and they can even take actions accordingly. There are so many tools out there. I'm not going to talk about tools now, and most of the tools are focusing on something called Mitre attack. Right. So Mitre attack is knowledge based that most of the even vendors are focused on. They have very specifically created the tactics and techniques that any attack can be categorized into. Okay, so here you see attack matrix of enterprise, Mitre attack matrix of enterprise, because guys, this is also known as kill chain. So then nowadays the attacks are very complex. So they are going through different kind of phases in the attack. For example, these are tactics. So then reconnaissance tactic, meaning collecting information about the target. So there are 10 techniques for this particular tactic. For example, active scanning, gather victim host information, gather victim identity information. You would see there are specific identities given for each and every technique. So in this tactic, there are 10 techniques. And then the next phase would be resource development, right? The next phase. And the next one is initial access. So how an attacker or piece of software would get access to the target. Initial access is that one. And the next one is execution. So then how attacker will execute commands once they get the initial access. And then the persistence, this is the tactic, and there are 19 techniques to be persistence, meaning once infected, straight away, infected software will not start working, destroying your files or acting. They will persistent, they will just remain undetected for some time. Okay, the next one is privilege escalation, meaning if the application or attacker got only user privileges or permission, they will try to slowly escalate the permission level to administrator or root or the system. So then they will get more permission, and then they can do more harmful stuff to the organization that is compromised. So defense evasion is, if this particular device has antivirus system, they will try to evade. They will try to bypass antivirus system. Okay. And then credential access and so on and so forth. So you can refer to these guys if you are interested. This is known as Mitre attack. And if you look at the newer implementation, for example, if you look at Attack IQ, it's a platform that is monitoring, that is used to monitor infrastructures and the scopes. So even they are referring to Mitre attack framework. Even Microsoft does, Cisco does, and so many vendors now referring to this knowledge base to specifically provide protection. And even if there is an attack, they can properly categorize into which tactic and which technique that they used. Right. So nowadays we use security systems like security information event management solutions, security incident event management solution, also known as SIEM solutions, to detect this and respond properly. And also nowadays, some organizations implement SOCs, security operations centers. Their focus is completely concentrate on the movements, lateral movements, interactions, network behavior, user behavior, and so forth and so forth. So they will just detect it and straight away take actions to remediate it. Again, right? So then this is another way. And also management, computer system, emergency response team. So if there is an incident, they can take it. And there are so many tools out there. As I said before, ERD is one of the systems. And also there are so many other solutions out there. So these solutions will monitor the processes, activities, behaviors, entity behaviors, user behaviors, and they will straight away automatically take actions if there are any, different kind of movements out there as well. All right. So these attack, and also the next one is another attack type is distributed denial of service or denial of service attacks. So mainly attackers were using these techniques to bring systems down, preventing legitimate users accessing. So if you look at the online maps, so Norse map, so you can find out lots of digital maps out there, which gives you understanding of ongoing distributed denial of service attacks. So here you see different attacks out there as well, right? So this is one of the attacks. This is known as Abdor networks, and this is from Kaspersky. So they would show you how these attacks are taking place. Some countries are targeting on different other countries and different specific protocols and all that. So mainly what DOS attack does is bring down the service. So by overutilizing, overwhelming certain resources, and then they will bring down the services of the particular network. So here you see, this is from actually Kaspersky. Here you see, right? So then if you turn this globe here, you can see different between different countries, different cities, they are, targeting some of the attacks. And also you can see the most attacked countries and commonly used protocols and so on and so forth. And it's not that hard because every system has processor, memory, storage, and bandwidth. So you know that whenever your processor is overused or 100% used, you will not be able to do anything. So what attackers do using DOS attack is like that. So I can demonstrate, I think, very simple DOS attack. Let me just go here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Wireshark here. So Wireshark is actually a network a protocol analyzer. If you use this tool, you can monitor the network traffic. So let me just open up this one, and I'm going to monitor the network traffic here. So it's monitoring the traffic, and also I'm going to open up the task manager to see how it works. So here you see it's smoothly working now, right? So let's look at the IP of this particular machine. It's 10.10.10.5. So I'm going to go to, now here you see everything is very smooth, and I'm going to go to Kali machine. Let's try to do a little, sample attack for the other machine. So I'm going to use hping3. I'm going to use hping3. And I'm going to say that I'm going to send traffic from somewhere else. I'm going to say my traffic is coming from 100.100.100.100, which is not exist actually in this network. And then my target is 10.10.10.5. And then I'm going to use a sync flood and Q. And then I'm going to say P80. Let's say I'm going to attack 80 port. All right, let's go and see whether it's successful. Let's say port 80. Sorry. Yeah. Now you see my total bandwidth is now used, right? So I can't do anything. I'm just trying to click. It doesn't work, right? So I'm trying to click it. You see it's 100% utilized, and I can't do anything, right? It's my system is totally stuck. So if I go in there, I'm going to close it. And when you do that, again, it'll come back to normal. Right. So now I can use it. So after some time, it will go down. And here you see the traffic is coming from 10.10.10.100, which is a fake IP. So this is actually denial of service. I did service denial. If you go to statistics, it will show you the graph here. Here you see the huge attack reported now, right? So this is known as denial of service. I just demonstrated using a small tool. It's actually not attacker tool. It's a very useful tool, HPing3. We use this one, but it can also be used to create a traffic, and you can, attack these as well. Okay, and then there are a few other, attacks as well. So if you have, if the testing scope is web applications, so this actually first we need to understand the concept behind it. Otherwise, it's going to be just a demonstration only. That's the reason I didn't want to, discuss about it, but I'll show you how it works. So then probably when we have time, I can explain it. SQL injection is one of the very common attacks where attackers can bypass authentication requests. So you can communicate with direct, databases. So SQL injection is not only targeting SQL databases, but any kind of databases. It can be Access, it can be Microsoft SQL, MySQL, Oracle, any database. But if the input fields are not sanitized properly, attackers can bypass this communication. So if I had time, I would have shown you, how the SQL works and all that. But in this case, I will not be able to do that. But let's try to figure out a couple of stuff here. So what I will do is, let's try to figure out a couple of web applications, websites. So I'm going to use Google search to find out web applications, right? So I'm going to use something called Google Do in URL admin login.php. So it shows you a couple of login websites, something like this, right? It shows you a couple of web applications here. So in URL admin login php. Yeah. So let me show you like this, right? So then what we can do is we can enter username and password. For example, if I do admin and type admin at 123, it doesn't work. Okay. Yes, it goes there. Let's do something else. I think it has some issue with this one as well. Let me just go in there. Let's say, I'm not sure, admin 123. And if I type Y, I think YW2C9. So the password is wrong, right? But by sending specific queries, you can bypass certain SQL queries as well. For example, I'm going to write query here. Right, so because since we don't have time to explain it, but what I'm going to do is if I enter this as an example, so I specifically created this part is true. So by making one side of the query true, you can send. Let's go in there, right? So you can bypass this entire query, right? So let me just enter here. Yeah, it's not working. Let's say admin. Let's try a couple of other stuff, guys. No harm, right? So just can try, and I'm just showing you some examples. But yeah, so actually we need to, if you want to conduct this kind of testing, you need to have a written consent. We discussed about it, right? Penetration testing, but I just want to show you how the things are working. Yeah, you can see, right? So you can access this one. So likewise, you can see it says welcome and all that. So you can see there are various websites you can find. You can bypass using a simple query. I mean, just writing a simple query, you can bypass. And also there are tools out there as well to conduct this kind of attack more effectively. Let me just go in there. Let's try to enter here as well. Yeah, it went as well, right? So it is the admin panel. I didn't know that, right? So It's there. You can just change whatever you want to. So this is SQL injection, actually, right? So we didn't have time to talk about how the query works, but actually what I did was whenever I enter username and password, there is a backend query, guys. So when I enter here, so there is a backend query. When I enter my username and password, it will be dumped into query and it will run against the database to find out information. So I broke the query, I tampered the query. With the result is without knowing proper password, I can go in there. So there are very powerful tools out there when we perform penetration testing, and I think you found this is very these methods are very, cybersecurity is really interesting as well. So let's try to find out another website to show you with the tool. I'm going to say in URL, I'm going to say PHP $ID equals, let's say Bangladesh. And so you can use, any query here. So let's say I'm going to use this college. So when I want to test it, usually what I do is I'm sending special character to see it's vulnerable or not. So this is a good sign that the site is a bit vulnerable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do sudo SQL map. I'm going to say u, and then I'm going to enter the URL here. Sorry, I think I copied the URL here. Sorry. Yeah, this is the URL. I'm going to copy this URL. And then I'm going to enter URL. Yeah. And then I'm going to say DBS. So when you do that, it'll run and it'll figure out the DBS, right? Oh. I think this is only 16. I think yeah. So here you see, I found the database. So here you can see one application is vulnerable, but it returns me all the databases of this particular database server. So there are about 15 databases here. You see more than 15, I think 20, 40 databases out there. So if I search for any single database, let's say I'm going to any of the databases, I'm going to select these databases. So it's very powerful. I'm going to copy this one here, and I'm going to rewrite the query stating that I want this particular database, and I need the tables of the database. So it will give me the tables, right? So because database is collection of tables, so it will come up with the table. So there are, you see, there are 3 tables out there. Obviously, we are interested in the third table, admin table. I'm going to say table TBL. Admin is the table that I want to, and table is collection of columns. I'm going to say I need columns, and then from this particular database, the table, it will give me the columns. So columns will have ID, full name, email, the title, mobile, photo, sign, status, site ID, blah, 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 all the information. So you can dump this actually. So here you see the email, full name, password. So let me just show you. If I go to column C, I'm going to use ID, email, password. Let's say dump. So it will dump username and password here, hopefully. Yeah, so here you see ID is this one, the email is this one, the password is obviously encrypted. So there are ways if you want to decrypt it. So this is SQL injection, just to introduce you, right? So if you are interested, we can have separate discussion over SQL injection. And the last but not least, I'll take 5 minutes to talk about session hijacking. I was talking about sessions earlier as well. So how session hijacking works is, as I said before, some of the sessions are maintained whenever you connected to the web application. So I'm gonna use this one here. So this is a web application. What I will do is I'm gonna send this traffic through a proxy server. Let me just open up my proxy. I'm gonna open up Burp Suite. So Burp Suite is built-in web proxy service, proxy application actually, comes with Kali Linux. So this is the tool. So what you can do is you can redirect the traffic of your web browser communication. So from that you can view anything that goes through the proxy. We can treat this as a man-in-the-middle attack as well. So then what I'm trying to do is I open up my web browser, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send traffic from my web application through proxy Burp Suite to the web server, right? So let me just open it up, the Burp Suite. So I hope you understand, right? So the Burp Suite is a proxy server. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to proxy and go to options. So if you want to configure this proxy server, I need to configure this on the browser. I'm going to go to browser, go into preferences, and the network settings. Okay. Then I'm going to configure 127.0.0.1.80.80. Once you do that, I should be able to monitor the communication. If I refresh, I should be able to see what's going on. So intercept is here on. I'm going to switch off intercept. And if I go to target, it will show you this information. Okay, so it shows you this information here. All right. So then here you see the information, and here you see that cookie test. This value is shown here as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm again doing a SQL injection, right? So I'm going to do here, then you will understand. So because I don't know the access to this, I don't know the password to this site, I'm going to say O1 = 1 hash, right? So now I'm going to do SQL injection to the account. So when I do that, I will get access to the server. Okay, so now here you see it's log off. Now I am within this particular web application. So now if I go to Burp Suite, it will show me the information about this one. So if I'm going to enter here, so here you see now right? So now I'm in this website. So here you see the cookie information is stored. Cookie information is stored here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the cookie. I want to send it somewhere. I'm going to copy this. Easiest way to send this outside is I'm going to access the web page, right? So I'm going to say leafpad var html index.html. So I'm going to enter this information here, cookie information here, and also I need the login. Yeah, that's okay, right? So I enter this information and I'm going to save it, right? I think I got this here. Right, I think I collected this information and I'm going to say save here. And when I do that, sorry, save here. All right, I know how to do that. I'm going to go in there. No, I'm going to leaf pad. I'm going to do sudo. Then I can write it. Yeah. So I'm going to paste it here. Save. Yeah, it's saved now. So let's try to access this file from somewhere else. So let's say http sorry. Sorry, TP 1.10.10.8. Yeah, it doesn't work here. Let's now, my plan is to access this from somewhere. So this is my real machine, the virtual machine. I'm running the session. I collected the session. Let's try to access here 10.8. Yeah, it's not working because here Apache is not working. I'm going to say service Apache start because web application is not running, right? So when I do that, I should be able to see this here, right? So these are actually additional steps. Don't worry about it. But I wanted to show you is how the session hijacking works. So what I did was, guys, this is my virtual machine. So then I access one of the websites and send the session information through the proxy server. I collected it and I dump it to the web application. And then if I go in there, if I refresh, I should be able to check this. So here you see the PHP session ID is located here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Okay. Now I need to inject this cookie information. So first we need to enter to the login page. So this is my login page previous. Now here you see this one, even I refresh, it goes to my Joomla login page. But this particular session, I have already logged into this application. Okay. So then if you remember previously I explained with the eBay, these session information now stored in here. All right. So what I will do is I'm going to enable, sorry, I need to first enable the extension. So this extension can be easily enabled. The extension is cookie editor. Once you enable the cookie editor, it will come here, right? So then if you search on the Google Chrome cookie editor, you can get this one. So if I click on that, it will show you this information. Okay. So if you see there is a value on the test one, and then you notice this value is same FC071CE. This is the test one, and PHP session value is different. That is what I obtained from the real working session, right? So here the session is not up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to enter this information to the cookie, right? So I'm going to refresh, re-enter this information, and I'm going to save it. When I save it, it will be written on the another session. And if I refresh, I should be able to access this one. So this is known as session hijacking, a bit quicker, but I think you understand the scenario. So what I did was one machine, I stolen the session ID, and this machine, I injected the session to the cookie. And when I refreshed it, without using any password or without knowing any username or password, I could access the session, right? So then in the next one is, if you go in there and if you log off from the session, because session is only active until real user is logged off, I'm going to log off from this one. And when I log off, and if I refresh now, this will be logging off as well because that particular user has logged off. Okay. So yeah, so this is the, area. These are the areas that I want to discuss during the session. I don't know whether I took, more time of you. Sorry for that if I did. Thank you very much, everyone, especially for the organizing committee. And the time for the QA, and also they were trying to run a couple of quizzes. And sorry if I took more time. And thank you very much for organizing this and inviting Siskia and also having me here. And thanks to everyone. And if you need any any support, you can just reach me. And also I'm on LinkedIn if anybody wants to, and our team will share the Facebook link information. If you want to keep in touch, feel free. And thank you very much again, and over to organization committee, and I'll be here for the Q&A session. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that wonderful session. Actually, we've come to the second quiz right now. So the rules and regulations are as previous one. Let me repeat it again. Please rename yourself with your university ID. And our organizing committee will be dropping you the instruction clearly on the chat box. If you have any doubts, you can review it and rename yourself. We'll give you a couple of minutes, 1 minute or something to rename yourself and to get prepared for the quiz. So remember, if you win, you will get special discounts on CISCAS Certified Cybersecurity Associate. So the winners will be contacted very soon after this session. So if you are ready, we can go to the quiz. All right, I hope all are ready. So we can start the quiz. Come on, guys. And there's a Google form in the chat box. If you're unable to do the poll, answer to the poll, you can use the Google form and submit your answers. All right, I can visibly see people start answering the questions. And to let you know, for the last quiz, we got 214 responses. It's a great response. Come on, guys. Let me repeat it again. You're going to get a good gift after if you win this quiz. So give it a try as before. Whether it's right or wrong, give it a try. Maybe you might be that person to get that gift. So you are having 10 minutes of time. And now 2 minutes and 30 seconds is over. All right, now I can see people answering more and more, and the count is getting increased. Come on. Even now, you have an ample of time to answer the questions because you have only 10 questions here. Give it a try. You have 5 minutes and 45 seconds more, and you have ample of time to answer 10 questions. So you can start the quiz. If you're unable to do the quiz using this poll, you can use the Google form as well. The Google form link is in the chat. Five minutes more. Take your time, think, and wisely answer the questions because you're having a very big gift there. So it's gonna be the golden opportunity for you guys to get that score actually. You have 3 minutes and 15 seconds. For your information, I can repeat it again. We got around 214 responses for the last quiz. So it's going to be a tough competition for you all. So just give it a try. You can be the one who is going to get that gift actually. Two minutes more. 45 seconds more. Thirty seconds more. Ten seconds more. Two seconds. 1 second. All right. And it's over out. Hope you guys did a very good job in the quiz, and the winners will be soon contacted by our organizing committee. Good job, guys. Darshana?
Yes, Joshi. So now it's time for the question and answer session. So guys, if you have questions regarding the matters that we have discussed today, so you can raise them by directly dropping into the chat, or else you can just DM to the Mr. Kushant. So the time is yours.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can use the chat window or anything you like. Or if not, even after the session, don't worry, you can contact organizing committee and you can reach me as well. And I saw a couple of people have already sent me messages on LinkedIn. So just send me if you need any support, anything that you want to know. I'm happy to provide you answers. And also, I think our team has shared feedback. So it's really useful if you could give us a feedback on the given link. Then for the next upcoming sessions, we can do much better. I guess there is always room to improve. So please feel free to provide your feedback, right? So then we can give you proper knowledge on the next workshop probably. All right, so it seems there are no questions, guys, and again, thank you very much for having me here, especially organizing committee. Yeah, so there's a question. Currently I'm participating Bug Bounty Pro. Sorry, there are a couple of questions, guys. Let me just go in there. So currently I'm participating Bug Bounty program. CTF, is that helpful for the pen testing? Yeah, of course, it will be really helpful for the pen testing, especially build your knowledge. And can artificial intelligence do the cybersecurity work like the next generation file? Of course, yes. As of now, even most of the tools use AI. Now, especially if you look at Sentinel, Microsoft Sentinel, it uses artificial intelligence, and so many security tools now incorporate with artificial intelligence because the threats are coming in a very speedy manner where humans cannot, hunt threats properly or effectively in that speed. So artificial intelligence is, definitely is way to go. And there's another question, and also it's already incorporated in most of the security tools. And there's another question. I'm currently doing HND on cybersecurity. I'll probably do a top-up degree after I'm done with HNDs. I want to do professional courses like CEH and also choose a proper top-up degree to do after my HNDs. If you can have any advices, please let me know. Yeah. So doing CEH is really good idea, because certified ethical hacker would give you better understanding of cybersecurity, because most of the universities offer cybersecurity degree programs, but I'm not, demeaning again, right? So with all due respects, but the hands-on knowledge of the students is comparatively really low when you compare with the professional training. So because of that, it's good to do CH kind of a training. The next question is which top-up degree that you want to do. I think I can't give you direct answer for that. The best way is contact me, in person, or just check for a couple of universities and then get their curriculum, the syllabus, and with that just drop me a mail. Then I will just compare and let you know which one is the best and the most suitable for your idea. It's not, I think, for your answer, the question, I think public forum like this, it's not good to answer your question directly, specifically in a public forum. And there's a question: what is the best certificate between CPTS by Hackerbox and OSCP? OSCP is the best, the recognition wise. And are there any websites that can practice cybersecurity like TryHackMe and was Hackbox? Yeah, there are so many, the ones that I listed. And if you want to, I can give you a list of websites if you reach me out. And then there's another question: why is cybersecurity job market is very low in Sri Lanka? Do you feel like starting a career in cybersecurity is good when it comes to Sri Lanka? No, irrespective of the country, cybersecurity has really good high demand in everywhere. But Sri Lanka, the situation, I think, with the economic situation, economic crisis and all that, not only cybersecurity, all the jobs are sort of degrading. And because due to various reasons, especially service sector is sort of degraded because US dollars scenario, because they can't import anything without US dollars and all that. But cybersecurity is really good thing to start. And I know my students, many of my students are working for overseas or companies from Sri Lanka. So because of that, don't think from Sri Lanka doing a cybersecurity is a bad idea. It's a really good idea if you can. But guys, the next thing is, don't do cybersecurity for the sake of money. And if you do that, you will be disappointed one day. Do something that you enjoy. Okay, so this is sort of my general opinion for everyone. Because if you start doing something that you don't enjoy, guys, you have to do it for your lifetime. It's a job. You're going to do a job. Job is not something that you can start today and just you just leave it next day. Because you need to start your career just after university. You need to build career slowly and steadily. But if you start something that you don't enjoy, just sake of money, then after some time you will disappoint and you will earn money, but you will not enjoy it. Right? So then rather you do something that you enjoy, then it will bring you money definitely. Okay. And then let me just go to the other ones. Yeah, there are no other questions. And what is your recommendation, automation attack and manual attack when doing pen testing? I prefer manual testing rather than automation, but with the time, Manav, the thing is when you when you work on the pricing for a specific scope. Now, let's say you have 200 computers to be tested, and if you do it manually, it will take longer time. It will cost more. So then your client will say no. Okay. So because of that, when you analyze it, you should do something. What I do is I do some level of automation, and after that I do manual testing. So best thing is to do combined way. Best way is penetration. Manual testing, because manual testing cannot. Automation cannot sort of completely override manual testing. But what you can do, what I do is with the timing and with the pricing and costing, because just imagine if you start doing manual testing on 200 computers, it would take about 200 hours at least. Okay, so then if you calculate 200 hours into your man hours, it is going to be heaps. But what you can do is you can reduce the man hours to 50% by doing it using automation tools, and then the suspicious machines, you can test it further using manual testing. So that is my recommendation. All right. Any other questions, guys? I think there are really good questions asked. I hope you're happy with the answers given. Okay. All right. If you look at the time, my time is 5:47 Australian time. Sri Lankan time is 12:13, but we have some time, right? So let me know if you have any. And then what are the advices can you give for the beginners of cybersecurity? And I'm gonna share the review. Sorry, I'm gonna yeah. All right. What are the advices? I shared the review. So if you can give us the feedback, your genuine feedback, it will be useful for us to improve our next workshop. The question is, what are the advices you can give for the beginners of cybersecurity and the certifications which should be followed? Yeah. For me, advices are you need to build sort of a patient. I mean, what do you call discipline about you to invest some time to. Yeah. So you need to build a discipline about yourself to invest invest on the cybersecurity, right? So even if you completed cybersecurity degree, even if you completed certified ethical hacker, offensive security certification, so all of those, if you cannot invest time on researchers and testing and practicing, it is not going to take you anywhere, right? Because of this, I would recommend you to do certified ethical hacker for sure. And apart from that, if possible, do offensive security, the next level one. And there are a few other qualifications like CPENT from EC Council, but it needs a lot of knowledge. Okay, so that knowledge can be obtained easily. The best thing is starting off with certified ethical hacker. It will take you to 20 modules, and it will teach you various important areas on cybersecurity. So then you will have better understanding and better foundation. So from that, if you spend about 2 hours every day researching, reading, learning, practicing, then after about 1-2 years, you will become a really good, knowledgeable, skillful, professional. So then that is my idea. If you start cybersecurity. And there's another question. What are the most used programming languages in the field of cybersecurity nowadays? It's Python. Nowadays, it's Python and Ruby. And then information system auditor and security auditor, same jobs. Information system auditor and security auditor, depending on the job role, guys. It's some organizations it's similar. Some organizations it's different. Information systems, some organizations only looking at their application part of it, but security auditor will look at infrastructure and applications. That depends on the organization. So some organizations, one person look after applications and security systems, but organizations here, they have heaps of apps running, mobile applications and web applications. So then these are two different jobs. And there was another one. There are so many questions, guys. Let me just check. Information systems. I have got a scholarship in CyberZilla. Should I do that? Oh, this is with my uni friends. What is the best? So I have got a scholarship in CyberZilla. Should I do that? Oh, this with my So Dulanjali, just check which one is the best. So then if you have 2 scholarships, probably you can talk to our team and see what is the best option for you. And if you got scholarship from here, just try to work out. Because I don't know what type of scholarship that you got from CyberZilla, because we were doing a couple of other different kind of programs, and we offer different kind of scholarships. So use the best one for you. That's my opinion. As a web developer, is there any advantage of learning cybersecurity? Of course, yes. I have students, even they are doctors, they did cybersecurity. So web developers, definitely yes. Because if you learn cybersecurity, you can develop web applications more secure and faster, better web applications. So definitely it will be an advantage to learning cybersecurity. Anyone. So even if you are a father, if you are a mother, if you are a serviceman, if you are a police person, I have trained, I think almost all the professions. I have trained doctors, I have trained engineers, I have trained lawyers for cybersecurity, and they are doing a lot of newer stuff because because now it's not that you are learning cybersecurity, only cybersecurity, but if you have blended other skill, you will be in a better position. So let's imagine a doctor learn about cybersecurity. So then he can work on a health information system, security system in a better way. If a lawyer learn about cybersecurity, he can expand his scope to legal advisors or cybersecurity incidents. So I hope you understand. So likewise, there is no restriction. Web developer, being a web developer, I think it's better to do cybersecurity. There's another question. Can a fresh computer science graduate easily find cybersecurity internship with certified ethical hacker certification? Of course, yes. Depends on, what kind of scope that you covered in a computer science. Because if you have done computer science, you have skill set that is required to build your career in cybersecurity. You have done core computing. And then on top of that, if you have CEH and if you have required knowledge, then you can definitely not only internship, even you can find a job in cybersecurity, right? Any other questions, guys? I quickly answer all the questions. I think there are no other questions. I think the time is. Any other questions, guys? If you have any, right? So with this, then we'll wind up my session because I was talking long enough. I think otherwise it will be boring, my talking. For me, I'm okay because I used to conduct 5 days training at a stretch, especially certified ethical hacker program. So 40 hours, 5 days. So I can talk even 5 days. But you will feel it's sort of boring because we were just going through different techniques, different technologies, different demonstrations. With everything, I think today's session is informative. I can see this from the responses and your questions, guys. And I'm really happy to be with you. And I really enjoyed the session. I think you did it too. And thanks again for the FOSS organizing committee. And you guys are doing an amazing job. Really good. Well done. Really good organizing. And you were trying to do lots of stuff. Since I was, participating to various other universities, I'm sorry, I don't remember what I did last time, guys. Probably, I think I did once with CyberZilla as well, because I'm really sorry. I can't exactly remember what I did, but you're doing a really good thing, and which is really needed to our country this time. And let us know if we can do anything for the community, and I mean FOSS or your university or CyberZilla. We're happy to do that. And on behalf of Siskia IT Solutions, again, I would like to thank organizing committee and the participants to be part of this amazing event. With that, wish you all the very best, and we would be there for you. We'll be there for you if you need any help from us. Thank you very much. Have a very good evening, and stay safe. Thanks.
Yes, of course, this event has been a very large success for us. When we just see the responses of the Q&A sessions, we've got so much of questions. And when we take the quizzes, the first quiz got 214 responses and the second quiz came up with 166 responses. It's a quite large amount, actually. It's a great success. It's because of you and your insightful session. And without further delay, we've almost come to the end now. So how can we forget to thank our chief guest? So who made this event a success and enlightened all of us by sparing his valuable time with us. So there is a small token of appreciation from the FOSS Society for you. Here you are.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for this, and it really appreciate. And I'll be posting it in my social media as well. Thanks, guys. Well done. And I would like to wish everyone, and as I said, organizing committee to organize this kind of more events and give more knowledge to our young generation and make them comfortable, confident in the technologies, and bring to help our economy to grow in a better way. Thanks, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. And let me invite our very own FOSS lead, Mr. Ranindu Harshana, who is behind this wonderful event, to address all of us.
Okay, thank you, Joshi. As the club lead of FOSS UW, on behalf of all students, I'm glad to express my vote of thanks. A special thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Ushant Gunawardana, and Cisca IT Solutions for accepting our invitation and for being here with us today. And your thoughts have truly inspired us. And also, I want to thank all the participants for participating in CyberZilla. And thank you again.
Thank you, Ranindu. So before we end up the session, let us turn on our video and take a small snap. So this day would be a memorable day for us, getting so much of insights about relating to cybersecurity. It has been a actually memorable day for me. It would be, I guess, for you guys also. So please turn on your videos so we can say cheese, so we can get a small snap. I'm really happy to see that so much of people have turned on your videos. Usually that doesn't happen. And I could see that a representative from all universities have turned on their videos. Come on, guys, we can give you a couple of seconds also. So you can turn on your video.
Okay, I'm taking a screenshot to it.